All right, I thought this was funny. Men use samurai duels to fight radical feminism in Japan.
When a woman approaches,
How do
she
you
gets
even...
hit. How Japan transformed gender disputes into samurai duels to face radical feminism. In the Tokyo subway,
Dude.
a girl, exhausted, ended up leaning on a man's shoulder. Classic romantic comedy scene? Not at all.
Aw.
The man suddenly pulls out his phone and starts hitting the girl's head with force.
What? That's not unhinged at all. That's not totally normal behavior. Somebody falls asleep on... I mean, some people may have that reaction, but bro, does that seem a little crazy? Man, maybe his wife was watching. Who knows?
As absurd as it may seem, many Japanese men say they understand this behavior. But why? In recent years, the media and public opinion have spread the idea that every Japanese man is a predator.
Ah.
In Japan, the term chikan is used to describe men accused of harassment, and the subway has become the main hunting ground. The government has tightened the rules. If a man is found guilty of being
So yeah, a little, people get overzealous about like social media and things like that, and kind of it starts like invading their general lives. Like there are some times where you should be a little bit weary of certain, things coming up in the media. However, like there's a lot of fear mongering, so people kind of jump on a bandwagon and overreact to certain things that they hear, and assume that everybody is of that group. You shouldn't assume everything over one blah blah, the whole thing, the whole spiel. But yeah, I could see, social media just has such a stranglehold on our fucking culture. Doesn't surprise me that somebody hears that and then it becomes like some kind of weird, like, weird phenomenon that's going on, and then it gets in other people's heads, and it's all over their version of TikToks and shit, and everyone's worrying about it for no reason or overreacting to certain subjects. Sometimes like I said, it is worth looking into certain things. But like, the whole like, not to go back, but the man versus bear stuff, and then that being spread as like a small niche little thing, and everyone was talking about it. Everyone had like, little opinions about it, but it was like it's like obviously very silly, because realistically a bear will chew you out without even having, like, a grizzly bear will just chew you out without a second thought. But everyone had it in their mind that like, oh, you never know what a guy's do. What are they doing out there? Could be crazy, could be insane, but it's like fear mongering and take advantage of people's paranoia and things like that, and people want to assume the worst. So it doesn't surprise me that like some kind of probably some internet thing is spread, and maybe, and the culture is like overreacting to some degree that like every man is gonna do something terrible to you on the bus, which I heard there are some issues in Japan. I've heard this, but I'm not. I don't know for sure. That could be totally bullshit. So I heard jokes about them on the subway. Is all I'm gonna say. That's what I heard.
chikan, he can pay absurd compensation to the victim, get up to 3 years in prison,
Completely unverified though. Who knows?
and still lose his job, family, and reputation. The most shocking part? No concrete evidence is needed. Just the testimony of the alleged victim is enough to condemn.
Oh God!
Some women scream for help just because a man looked at them twice or started a conversation. The result? Many men see their lives destroyed. Even worse, extreme feminists began deliberately leaning against men in the subway to later accuse them of harassment and profit.
Ah! Dude! That is a scary fucking thought. Yeah, but dude. The preying on your parent, I would imagine that's very low. I would hope the percentage of people willing to do that ruin somebody's, like, you have to be some fucking psychotic a little bit, right? Like, that has to be, you got to be completely out there to even think this is like okay behavior. So it's like, but again, it's like playing on that fear. Like, what if they accuse me? So then the guy overreacts and starts beating a woman with his phone because he doesn't want to get accused. But if it's like a current phenomenon, as opposed to like if he is worried about it, the normal thing would just be get up and move. Just be like, hey, wake him up, and he starts beating her with the fucking phone. Still not okay. That's like way extreme, bro.
From compensation. Statistics show that more than half of the
But I could understand. If from the male standpoint now, I could understand where they're coming from. Like, hey, I don't want to take any chances. He obviously overreacted, but like You know, if somebody falls asleep, you can't just be like, oh, you know, let them pass out. It's fine. You got to be like, hey, man, if this is like a current phenomenon and it's kind of weird, just and if you are worried about it, you know, it's like a light tap. Hey, wake up. I'm not your bed, okay? Wake up.
These cases are false. The phenomenon reached such a point that women, only cars emerged, a modern segregation that no one questions. But this didn't solve the problem. Men continue to be accused even outside these cars.
Damn, okay, that's a little different. It's not like some paranoia. This is like something that could land you in jail for probably a long fucking time over nothing. False accusations from some psychopath. Yeah, I gotta understand a little bit more weirdness. That's fucking sketchy, dude.
A famous case was that of a university professor who lost his job after a student claimed he harassed her during an online class. The evidence? He supposedly looked too much at her camera. Japanese companies went into total panic. Many prohibited meetings between men and women without a third person present. Elevators became minefields. Men prefer to wait for the next one if there's a woman alone. In some offices, they installed cameras in all rooms to protect male employees from false accusations. The only way to avoid an accusation...
I'm gonna need some... This is a lot of strong... I'm gonna have to start taking some of this with a grain of salt, unless I do some research. Let's look it up. 99% conviction rate. Okay. This seems like there's a lot more to unpack here. No, he's trying to criminal shortfalls, and this is just general conviction rate. Damn. Limited statistics for Fox. Yeah. I'm gonna... Here, this is what I'll say. Entertainment only. I'm not sure the statistics behind this. If this is happening, terrible. If it's not, that's crazy.
Seems to be never taking the subway again. But some men found a samurai solution. According to Japanese law, if there is mutual fighting, the penalty is only 15 days of detention.
You know? I laughed and said it didn't make sense. I laughed at the idea, but, you know, here we are. Isn't that crazy to break out the fucking katana? Boys, I start packing on the subway. We're going back to the fucking Ronin days.
So, at the slightest sign of a woman approaching suspiciously, they prefer to attack first. They hit to avoid being accused of harassment. Through the cameras, the act seems to be just a common fight. Better 15 days detained than 3 years in prison and life ruined. This extreme strategy even got a name, Chikan Yabu, harassment prevention through defensive action. Online groups teach techniques, how to identify a possible accuser, what objects to use for self-
This is so unhinged. I mean, a girl falls asleep on you, so you just fucking... What? Well, that costs you an arm, Lucy. Dude. What the fuck?
defense, and even how to position the body so that cameras capture the legitimate defense. It seems crazy, but for many Japanese men, it's a matter of survival. What few people know is that Japan was one of the pioneers of feminism in Asia. But how did this movement lose balance and fall into extremism and chaos? In the past, in Japan, women were treated as second-class citizens. Their role was to marry and take care of the house. The IE system, traditional family structure, defined that women should obey first their father, then their husband, and
very traditional upbringing. It doesn't surprise me based on their culture and stuff like that. The women always seem kind of like very house oriented in their culture. I know it's switching where they're very much into business, which is cool. I mean, whatever. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of was a thing for a very long time.
Finally, their eldest son. But with economic growth came the fight for equality, access to education, work, politics.
We're having that now. Women are like far outpacing men in like education and shit like that, which is crazy,
In the 1970s, the first Japanese feminists emerged. influenced by the American movement. They fought for basic rights, voting, work.
I don't know if that's. I think that is still the case. Yeah. Look at this. U.S. Women are outpacing men in college completion, including in every major racial and ethnic group. So yeah, becoming more common nowadays.
Work, divorce.
Hey, guys, it's switching now. Now the boys are gonna be the house husbands. It's time to break out the nice. What do you call them? The apron. Start learning to cook. You know, look your best. Work out at least 3 times a week. Have buns of steel. You gotta be the arm candy now. No, it is a little worrying. You know, who knows how that'll turn out.
And they achieved important victories. In 1975, the first law against workplace gender discrimination was approved. It seemed like the country would finally find balance. But in the 1980s, during the economic bubble, unrestrained consumption began to redefine the female role. The media began selling the idea that being independent meant consuming a lot, and the government approved increasingly aggressive laws to protect women. The bubble culture created a generation of materialistic women. Fashion magazines taught how to get Chanel bags, BMW cars, and apartments in Ginza. The motto was, "Don't settle for less." Social pressure made many women believe they deserved everything without giving anything in return. Example: in 1991, a boss who sent more than 5 normal emails per day to a female employee was accused of workplace harassment.
That's fucking unhinged. A lot of this is unhinged. This whole video is fucking unhinged. This is like, I don't know what to. I don't. What? Dude, that's so extreme. Dude, you know how many fucking emails you'll get with some jobs, dude? You'll get like a disgusting amount of emails. But I guess if it's like directly coaching them, but even then, if it's like it's your fucking boss, you know what are you gonna do? I guess if they're like, there are problems where I've seen where people try to, you know, go very hard on people and train them out the door. I've seen that happen, so I guess like some kind of protection is set up there, but like 5 emails a day, it really depends on what they are. It would really depend, and then even then it's like I don't know. I could maybe see it, but if men are dealing with the same thing, that would completely be X'd out. It would depend on you would have to look at their email history and see what it's like. But I would say that's for anybody. I feel like if anybody's getting like these excessive emails, then yeah, maybe there is something weird going on there. Maybe they are trying to fuck with them or some way. 5, it just really depends on the material on them.
Little by little, some women stopped wanting equality and began demanding superiority.
5, I don't think is that crazy. It's not that crazy depending on the job. Depending on the job.
The concept of sekuhara was imported directly from the USA, but without cultural adaptation. In Japan, where greetings and casual conversations were normal, any interaction became a...
Like a regular office job? Maybe not. Maybe. I guess if you're like... If they need constant update... So it's like, it feels like very dependent. I don't know. I like keep thinking about this. I'm like, huh. Like that could be a lot of things. I don't know. You know, there's a lot to unpack there. I'm just going to have to X that out because I'm sure... you feel like you could overreact and underreact in that situation, you know?
Potential crime. An employee was fired for asking if his colleague was okay after she sneezed. Reason? Privacy invasion with inappropriate connotations. Strange demands emerged in dating.
That's
dinner
insane.
Only at expensive
I don't
restaurants,
care if he was
gifts
snarky.
above $50,000.
I don't care if he was an asshole. That isn't like about it. If he was just like, huh, are you okay? And even then, I'm like, how could that, even if you're like the most asshole, how could you make that like, how could you make it that bad? Are you okay? Like, I don't understand. There's no connotation where that deserves to get fired. That alone is insane. What? Yeah, I mean, maybe there definitely needs to be some talk. Their gender shit needs to be sorted out. If this is all to believe. If we could tackle all this. It's a funny video though.
1,000 yen.
Crazy.
Almost 350.
What is it? Who is this channel? All Asian Dilemmas. Japan, some men prefer. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know much about this channel, so
US dollars.
I just thought it was kind of funny. So, yeah, this is crazy.
Otherwise, the man has no sincerity. In 1992, a feminist magazine published an article encouraging women to maintain 4 boyfriends simultaneously: 1 to carry bags, 1 to pay bills, 1 to give gifts, and 1 handsome and rich to marry.
Okay. Was it like a joke article? Was it like a joke art? Dude. But I know like Asia has some weird stuff. Like I watched a video where like they're just talking about how men cheating is like whatever to them and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a very different culture. It's like and like relationships are more for status. A lot of them just don't really care about that stuff. They just want to they just do it because they think it looks like good for them and their culture. And I've heard this multiple times. Multiple people have said it. People who've lived in Japan, people who've talked about it. So I do think that there must be some kind of strong evidence there that maybe a lot of it's done for the just a status to show that they are a family, whatever relationship, they can hold it down. So yeah, I don't know. Besides that though, 4 boyfriends is wild. 4 boyfriends is wild. No, thank you. Actually.
Thus were born the gold diggers and their male equivalents, the sea kings. The dating market became an economic battlefield. Dating schools even emerged to teach.
Can you imagine dealing with, like, as a guy? Can you imagine dealing with 4? You think it's fun and all stuff, but like, man, oh my god, I would go insane, dude. I think any guy would actually 4 people. Oh, constantly tending to, oh my god, tending to all their needs and different things. I would go fucking nuts, dude. I don't know about anybody else. Maybe I'm an outlier.
How to extract the maximum money from men. Techniques included how to fake interest, how to extend expensive dates, and how to make emotional manipulation. Men were seen only as walking wallets. At the same time,
I mean, that does happen. Okay, some young people will use their looks in order to fucking put one over on men. I don't think it's a much of a thing around older women, but yeah, as a younger guy, it's got to be a little worrisome sometimes. But I mean, sometimes you just gotta walk away and be like, well, fuck you. Once you start noticing it, you can pick it up. You can be like, I'm out of here.
Media began portraying all men as potential predators. So
first date, we're going to like some 5-star restaurant. Yeah. Okay, buddy. First date, like maybe then, keep an eye out. Stay vigilant. There are people who do that. I'm sure maybe women deal with this too. I don't know.
Soap operas,
if any women are watch this, comment below. Tell me if you had this experience.
Movies and news repeated the same message.
I heard about one dude. This is for women. All right, I'm gonna try to be fair and equal and balanced. I know this one guy, or I heard about this one guy when I worked at a place, and he was stating, she was stating how she had to buy him like this chain when they just started dating, and it was like they didn't have that much money. But he had to have this chain. And so she bought it for him. And, yeah, took a chunk out of them, but she was just like, if he wants it. At least ask for something cool, like a game system. New tires for the truck that you have, probably? I don't know, dude. I don't know, something useful, A chain? You really need the chain? I will never that one always confused me. I was like, what the fuck?
Man near woman equals danger. This narrative created a collective paranoia that still haunts the country. But the peak became decline. With the economy's collapse in 1992, companies began cutting employees. And guess who left first? Women. Reason? Men being...
I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I'm like, I could never see myself being like, I really need this chain. This chain is so sick. I need this. I need this expensive chain for no reason. I cannot imagine a scenario where I'm just like, I need this chain. I don't. A video game? Maybe, Video game? Maybe.
Able to handle more work pressure were kept. Many women lost their jobs, and with that, the ability to sustain their own standards. The lost decade from 1990 to 2000 was brutal for extreme feminism. Women who demanded expensive restaurants discovered that their targets were unemployed. Those who
But I also heard about women who will just, go on date to date, get free dinners, shit like that. Pretty scummy stuff. Not really looking for anything of interest. They're just looking for a free meal. I don't like that either. Pretty gross. But happens.
depended on gifts saw their sponsors go bankrupt.
It's like, just cook at home. Don't you have any dignity, dude? Put some fucking chicken in the pan, fry it up, some olive oil. You're living life, dude. You're living life. You don't even need that processed shit they have in the fucking markets anyways half the time, okay? It's disgusting. All right? Even like decent restaurants sometimes have like over-processed shit.
Unrestrained
It feels like, I don't know. Not the good ones, but you know what I'm saying.
consumption collapsed along with the economy. The men who remained, now drowning in debt and stress, stopped spending on women. Many became the so-called otakus, isolated, lonely, addicted to anime, games, and adult content. They prefer to...
Hey! You're acting like that's a bad thing. Hey, relax. I'm feeling a little attacked here. Hey. Life's good. Life's good this way. Just kidding. No, seek a girl. But, I don't think those hobbies are necessarily bad. I don't think staying inside and doing those things sounds that bad to some people. It actually sounds kind of chill. All I'm saying is that when AI becomes a lot more useful, we're going to see a lot more lonely people out in the real world looking for actual real relationships. Why do I need to bother when I have Grok 8.0 who can literally vibrate every part of their body? Sorry.
Rather than spend a cent to please a woman.
Sorry.
And even the wealthy changed. Today, they even date, but refuse to marry, so they don't become rental husbands. An entire industry emerged to replace real relationships. Cafes with virtual girls, ultra-realistic dating games, and even companion robots. For many men, it became cheaper and safer.
Obviously, nothing, I don't want to sound soy, but nothing will replace being with a person, having a connection, and really sharing moments and time, and
to pay for artificial companionship than to risk accusations with real women. The male response generated entire subcultures. The herbivores, men who reject relationships, the NEET, young people who neither study nor work, and the hikikomori, social recluses, became massive.
Oh, I heard of hikikomori. Is that what they are?
Millions of men simply gave up trying. The male response to extreme feminism was brutal. From subway confrontations to voluntary celibacy, women with real competence remained in the job market.
MGTOW! Is that still a thing? Is that still going? MGTOW? Men going their own way? Is men just like giving up and just just fucking finding their own way in life, being alone, realizing that there's no such thing as love or some shit like that. Oh man, like I don't know. I feel like this has always been kind of a thing. People get like really sick of like being in relationships, but eventually I feel like, you put yourself out there, you're a good person, all that stuff. You'll find somebody, man.
And these also reject extreme feminism, which tarnish the image of all women. Ironically, serious women became victims of their own movement. Companies began to avoid...
But, I'll give them this, because I've had this conversation with some people on the internet, and like, I realize it's not that simple for everybody. It's got to be hard putting yourself out there and getting constantly denied, or, trying to, live, and be, and, to share, wanting to be a part of, having a relationship and doing all that shit. It's got to be difficult. It's not easy for everybody, and I hope the best for everybody, man. It's got to be tough for some people, 100%. It's not the most easy thing. I just feel like the more you put yourself out there, you try to be a good person, take care of yourself, all that stuff. Eventually, it's gonna happen.
Hiring women for fear of lawsuits.
Maybe it's naive. Maybe it's a little dumb.
Many competent female executives lost opportunities because employers assumed that every woman was a potential accuser. The anti-feminism female movement gained strength. Groups of Japanese women began to openly criticize radical feminism, arguing that it hurt more than it helped.
I don't know if we should be allowed to see that thing, okay? That thing has seen some dark days, is all I'm gonna say. He's doing some crazy things that some dude put Diddy to shame, dude. That's all I'm gonna say.
Campaigns like Women Against Feminism spread across social media. The result?
This video is just so hilarious to me, dude. All right. I'm sorry. I'm laughing a lot. It's just I start talking about these subjects. I'm just like, bro, this is crazy. What?
Today, many Japanese women begin to say, it was better to be a housewife and take care of the husband.
Yeah.
Extreme feminism forced society to regress. Japan now faces low birth rates, aging population, and social collapse. The numbers are frightening. Birth rate of 1.3 children per woman.
Damn,
More than
that's
30%
scary.
of men between 20 to 34 years old have never dated. And projections indicate that Japan's population could drop by half by 2100. The social
Ooh.
cost of extremism was gigantic. Other Asian countries observe Japan as an example of what not to do. South Korea, with a similar feminist movement, already faces similar problems. China implemented policies to avoid the same fate. The Japanese model became synonymous with social failure. Men and women only prosper together. Why does one have to diminish the other? Japan teaches us that when the battle of the sexes gets out of control, there are no winners, only a destroyed society and an uncertain future.
That's what I don't like about all these like extreme feminists or these extreme other people who are just men that whatever. That will just like, oh, all relationships are fucked. They're all evil on this side. All women are awful. All men are awful. It's like, it's not the case. You guys are just perpetuating yourselves into being like fucking making people so unhappy. Just put your, people are complicated. There's gonna be things you don't like about other people. But all together, like, we gotta work together to some goal. I know it's cheesy. I know it's, I should be telling you to go get the Sexbot 0.90 or 3.0 and fucking act wild with it. But realistically, this is worrying, and I want to see us continue. I want to see the world, what we could bring to the universe and all that stuff. And I think it's a good thing. I don't think people should be alone. I don't like that.
The question that remains is there still time to fix it? Or is Japan condemned to pay forever for the price of extremism? What do you think? If you enjoyed this, follow the channel. See you in the next video.
Crazy. Now, I don't know what to believe. However, that was... I could not stop laughing. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, if you liked the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you think I said some shit that you very much disagree with and you think I'm a bad person, please say that all below, as I would love to have a conversation with you, maybe. But yeah, anyways, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later. Take it easy.